And here we go. It's time for Clubhouse Chatter. Here's the man, here's the myth, the legend in his own mind, Norm Ordez.
Well, actually, on the other line, I have the legend. And so our next guest, I'm really excited about this because we have baseball history here. And so Bobby Winkles was the first head varsity baseball coach at Arizona State University. He coached from 1959 to 1971. His overall record while at ASU was .524 and 173 losses. Won 3 national championships, 1965, 1967, and 1969. And he had coached some of the greatest players to play Major League Baseball. Mr. Winkles, how you doing today?
Well, I'm doing okay. I'm getting along pretty good, and I can still walk my 4 miles a week and play golf 3 days a week, so I have nothing to complain about.
So now you're in La Quinta, so where do you play golf at?
I play golf, I go to different places and play. A few people know me here.
Okay. All right. So you were the very first head baseball coach at Arizona State. So who turned that over to you? Who gave you the job?
Well, I was playing in Indianapolis in AAA. It was my 7th year of minor league ball with a couple of years taken out for the service. And Aparicio was playing shortstop for the White Sox, and Nellie Fox was playing second base. Well, that was actually the only 2 positions that I could play because I was not a slugger. And I decided that I had gone to the University of Colorado and gotten a master's degree while I was playing. And so I went back to when we were playing in Denver, I went back to the man who took care of me, and he said, I told him I want to retire from baseball, and he said, I've got a couple of places, and one of those 2 was Arizona State, and he said, Clyde Smith, he's looking for a young guy, and a young guy that's not going to run off and lead him if he got pro ball. So the doctor that took care of at the University of Colorado said, well, I've got him right here, and Mr. Smith called me a week later, and I became, without even ever seeing him or him seeing me, I became the head coach.
And the rest was history. 3 national titles, 1965, 1967, and 1969. What was there one that was more important? Was the first one more important than the second and the last? And what memories do you have of each one?
There's one thing I never do. I never get called by anybody by saying who's better than somebody else. If they played for me, they were all good, and the guys that didn't even get to play a heck of a lot were still just like kids to me.
Right.
They all. Any of you ever talk to any of them, they'll all tell you I treated everybody alike. And I've had some guys say from the '69 team, "Hey, coach, if you don't say we're the best." That we're the best of the 3, I'm not going to come see you anymore. And I said, well, get yourself ready not to come see me anymore, because I treat all my players alike. All wins are alike to me. There's nothing that is outstanding that would pass by something else. It's just when you win three times in 5 years, there's not much that you can say other than it was a wonderful squad of people.
Right. And that's fair. You know what? That's fair. And you've had some great players. Sal Bando, Rick Monday, Reggie Jackson, and I'm sure that, your bench was pretty solid as well. I mean, you don't win national championships with, weak bench players. So you were inducted into the Collegiate Hall of Fame in 1997. And then you also managed in Major League Baseball. So you managed with the California Angels and the Oakland Athletics. And how was that? I mean, it's, 1973, 1974, 77, and 78. It's a lot different than 2015.
Oh, absolutely. When they didn't have... The Angels did not have a good ball club. They had a good pitching core, and I didn't really. I coached the year before in '72, and they fired the manager and asked me if I wanted to manage that. Well, I'd only had 1 year in the major leagues just as a coach. But when you get a big league offer, you can't turn it down. So I wanted to go 3 years before I got into the deep of it to learn a little bit more about it. But I mean, there's more to that than there is to coaching in college. So after 2.5 years, 72, I mean, what would it be? 72 and 73, I was 3 over 500 the first year I managed the big leagues. That was the best in 9 years that the Angels ever had been.
Wow.
But we were 3 under 500, and I thought sure that with that they would help. I would get a lot of help. Well, I didn't get that. Nolan Ryan, of course, was the big rock there, and our pitching was good, and we just had older guys playing every position, and I kind of let them get away, and I got fired, and that's the truth.
So you've been involved with baseball for a long time.
23 years.
Is there a special memory that stands out more than others?
Well, the memories, there's a lot of memories. The first thing that Arizona State University ever won, the first national championship, was the baseball team in 1965. Nolan Ryan pitched 2 of his no-hitters for me, his first 2. That was a pretty big place. The president came to see him pitch on the third day, and he saw him pitch a no-hitter. Mm-hmm. And so I felt quite well about being 79 and 83. I felt good about that as the first year as a manager out of college, and it's just I've had a lot of good things happen in my life, a lot more than they are sad things. So I left Arizona State just because of the pitching plan in the big leagues.
Right.
And I was a little gutsy, and I told my wife Ellie and we've been married 62 years now. I told her the pension we get from Arizona State's not going to be much, but if I can get 10 years in the major leagues, we'll be sitting pretty easy, because I didn't make any money in baseball. I managed the Angels for $28,000. And think of that now. They give a tip, they give tips that big in the big league.
Yeah, they do.
And so just those things all combined, I felt good about it. And and I did get in 21 years at the big league level. So I don't have anything. I have nothing but great things to say about the field of baseball, about baseball. I think it's played a lot slower than it should be. And it was a smart move. I didn't like it whenever they took pitchers that finished games, when they took them off of, and when you get 100 pitches, you're out of there.
Right.
That slowed down the game more, but I still knew that was a good thing to do, because I wrote my thesis on it at the University of Colorado. And I found out that left-handed hitters hit right-handed pitchers 17% better than they hit their own. And with the right-handers pitching to the left-handers was about 7%. So it was better in both ways of doing that. I still have my thing that I wrote. I look at it once in a while and I think, well, maybe I should have done that early. But I think that's a good move. It saves a pitcher's arm, and it puts other guy out there that's got a fresh arm to pitch just one or two pitches in an inning. I don't like it, but I think it was smart.
What was the best advice ever given to you?
The best advice that's ever given to me? Well, I was at AAA, and I was playing shortstop, and I was hitting about 245, and the manager in July called me in, and he said, Bob, I've been watching you now, and things are going okay, but not good enough. And I say I've got something that you ought to do. And I said, well, what? Tell me what it is. I'll go to work on it. And he said to me, you should retire.
And you did.
And I did.
And you did.
And I did. And when Clyde Smith was going to hire me, he doesn't know who it was at Arizona State. He didn't know me, and I didn't know him. And so I told you this story yesterday about when I didn't tell you the one when he was hiring me. He said, I'm going, Bobby, you guys, I'll give you this. I'll give you $6,300 to come here and coach. I want you to be my coach. But you can't go get a job, like up in the Dakotas, where they have summer league. You can make as much as you do there. And so finally, he said to me, Bobby, the fish might be biting. I'll give you $63,000, and that's it. And I said, okay, I'll be there. So I jumped in the car, Ellen and I, when the season was over, and we went there, and it's been a wonderful life ever since.
Baseball's a wonderful game, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's a wonderful game if it's played right.
For me, my father passed away back in March, and baseball has had such a big impact on me this summer. So I work with the McMinnville Parks and Recreation up here in Oregon, and I help run their baseball program. And so we have about 800 kids come through. And I do their equipment. I supervise the umpires, and I coach coaches. And 20 years, and this was, for me, the most important season that I've ever gone through. There was a lot of healing going on over dealing with my dad's death, and it was awesome. Baseball had a big part in helping with that heal, and I love it. I'll love baseball till the day I die, and chatting with people like you who have a connection to baseball history is big for me. And people like you are the reason why I do my show. And there's such a it's a disconnection. There's a lot of people that have no idea who you are. I mean, there's a lot of people that know who you are, but you ask a typical college baseball fan, they don't know that you were the very first head coach at Arizona State.
Well, I can tell you this, that I've got in the mail and sent back, since from going from back to the time that I was just left Arizona State, I've had 3,000 autographs in. And I've done it for everyone that sent them, everyone that sent me my picture or whatever they wanted to send. I just sent 2 baseballs back to some guys right now, a week ago. I sent 2 baseballs from somewhere when we're out of place. So, Norm, I have no regrets. I would like to, the book that I've finished, I would like for that to be somebody to pick it up, but if they don't, I don't really care about that.
Right. And I was one of those guys, and that is how I was connected with you. I had sent you 3 or 4 baseball cards, and you had signed everyone back. You also answered, I asked you like 3 or 4 questions on a questionnaire, and at the bottom of it, you had wrote your phone number and how you wanted to talk baseball.
Yeah.
And I ended up calling you, and here we are today. And I love it. There's a couple of guys that I love from yesteryear, and you're one of them. Reading your story and chatting with you a couple of times that I've chatted with you, baseball's alive. And another one who had just passed away, Rocky Bridges, and Rocky passed away a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And he's another. I don't know if you ever came across Rocky or not.
I know him very well. I've spent time with him.
And once again, a great baseball man from yesteryear, who people tend to forget. It's all about the Mike Trouts and everything like that. But the stories are with the older guys, the elders of the game. And, I appreciate that, and I thank you for that.
Well, you're certainly... I'm certainly proud to visit with you, and I was more proud actually when you sent me those cards. But, it's been a long time since old Winkles has been out there on the field, 1993, and so I still hear from a lot of people, and it's a great, wonderful thing for me.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, and I would like to set up some time with you to where, you and I just chat baseball. I want to hear some of your stories and hear more about Bobby Winkles and, some of your stories from years ago. And if that's okay with you, I'd love to talk some more.
If I'm around,
that sounds good.
Do it.
That sounds good to me. So once again,
okay.
Bobby Winkles, and he's got a book coming out. When is your book coming out?
Yes, it's done. Or just nobody's picked it up yet. We may have to self-publish it, because I've got a few things of people of my own that'll put it in their shops and everything. So
Well, let's get that thing out.
yes,
I can't wait to read it.
Thank you, Norm.
Hey, thank you, and we will chat with you a little bit later.
I'll be ready for you.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Bobby.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye. Once again, Mr. Bobby Winkles. Wow. Like I said, piece of history. Arizona State, first head baseball coach. Those old guys, they got stories. And they're awesome. I know Brian's over here shaking his head. But yeah, I mean, I want to hear more from him.
Great stuff, and these guys are relevant, and they've had a huge impact on what we're seeing today.
Oh, absolutely. Nolan Ryan's first 2 games, first 2 no-hitters. That's pretty impressive.
Crazy.
So once again, we are sponsored by Baseballisms, the hat and the flagman shirt, baseballisms.com. Base by Pros, basebypros.com. Baseball Dudes. Brian's got the Baseball Dudes hat today. Basebypros.com. We are always streaming live on yamhilltoday.com. Every show we stream there. And Mark Canham with MDM Designs. He does our 9-inning know-it-all shirts and does a great job. So check some of his stuff out. And then if you want to place your ad, get in touch with me, normbo18@gmail.com. As always, we're yamhilltoday.com. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube, Clubhouse Chatter. Thanks, and Todd Newman will be up at 1:30.